So how it works is the governor will actually introduce you.
Okay.
And then after your remarks, if you don't mind calling up the rep,
Yeah, absolutely.
keep it flowing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then some.
Because that's what she was saying too.
Is that just during the signing or?
He was nice. So
Like I don't have this like who's going to talk online or anything. Probably does that.
Mayor Hopkins, I actually didn't recognize you, Susan Madonna. I was like, you look wonderful. You look so happy.
Well, I walk a lot.
We heard you tooting on by, so I said, Gina, make sure you get him here for Hannah.
I didn't. Oh yeah, that's
It's a baseball thing.
I get the I
No, we a couple times, but yeah, I'm just. As your mayor, I'd like to welcome you all to our fine city. It's a beautiful day to be signing an educational bill outside of Waterman Elementary School. Thank you to Governor McKee for signing this most important piece of legislation. Thank you to my good friend, Senator Hannah Gallo, and Representative Brian Newberry for introducing this fantastic bipartisan bill. And I like to remind people, 20 years ago, I reminded our fantastic superintendent that I started the Civics program here in the Cranston Public Schools, teaching an inclusion class. And I used to bring them over to the mayor's office and bring them to City Hall. And now some of those kids are actually voting for me. So I think I did a good job teaching them. Education Commissioner Angelica Infante Green, thank you so much for being here today. And our superintendent, Superintendent of the Year, Janine Massey. Janine Massey, thank you so much for being here. In the early 2000s, I piloted the civics program right here in the city of Cranston at Cranston East High School. I went on to teach democracy and civics as part of our inclusion program at the Cranston Public Schools. Participation in civic life is essential to sustaining our democratic form of government. After 37 years as an educator, I retired for 5 years, and then they pulled me right back in to serve as the mayor of this fine city. We can do this by helping our kids develop and practice the knowledge, beliefs, and behaviors needed to participate in civic life. This bill will help our children gain an understanding of the processes of government, political ideologies, civic and constitutional rights, and the history and heritage of this great nation. Thank you for all of the work on this initiative, and at this point I will pass this over to Senator Hannah Gallo. Thank you.
All elected officials, all our school personnel, and all the very important people are here, especially our students from student government. It's a good afternoon and welcome to Waterman. It sounds so good to say it. I'm very excited for this bill signing. Improving civic education has been a top priority for me for 2 decades. We established the Permanent Civic Education Commission in 2001. Yeah, 2001. I was honored to serve as its chairwoman in the past, and we have implemented several important recommendations that came from the commission to improve civic literacy in our state. This bill builds upon our past successes by making demonstrated civic proficiency a graduation requirement. It also requires a student-led civics project designed to build understanding of our government systems. Civic proficiency has never been more important than it is today in this age of rampant misinformation. We live in a land of peace and prosperity, and hard-fought suffrage struggles over the years have secured the right for all citizens to participate in representative democracy through the polls and through service in elected and service and civic offices. Yet voter turnout in nations where people get killed on their way to the polls routinely exceeds voter turnout here at home. A rigorous civics education curriculum is the best way to help students understand the importance of their participation in government of the people, by the people, for the people. It can help them understand how representative democracy works and how they can bring about change through their engagement. There are many people to thank for the success of this bill, starting with my colleagues in the Senate who have supported it in prior years, as well as Senate leadership. I want to, Senator Cano, Chair Cano is here today, and I'd like to thank the President Ruggiero, who has also made it a priority this year. It seems weird that we have to say it had to be a priority because we've worked so long on it, and it just seems like it should have just been a no-brainer, in honesty. I want to thank Speaker Sakachi and our colleagues in the House for their support this year, and of course Governor McKee for his support in signing this today. Representative democracy cannot endure unless the citizens of tomorrow have an appreciation of how their government functions and how to engage in it. They need to understand the threat posed to our democracy when an angry mob storms the Capitol in an attempt to overturn election results. They need to be able to discern claims using valid evidence and to understand the connections among the federal, state, and local governments. This bill helps to build a stronger republic, and I'm very grateful that it's now going to be Rhode Island law. Thank you all who came out today and made this a priority. Thank you. And I'd like to invite the governor up, please. Put that back up for you.
Thank you, Senator. Your words in terms of how important it is that everyone in the world, Rhode Island, understands the great country that we live in and why we have our freedoms that we do, and a lot has to do with the Constitution and the ability to elect people, and also to understand the difference between our branches of government, right? Our executive branch, judicial, and legislative. So I'm happy to be here at Daniel Waterman Elementary, and the principal and her team hosting us here today. Thank you so much, Sue, for doing that. And it was great to say hello to the students, and that's what we're here about, right? And they were very excited that we're here today at their school, right here at Waterman Elementary. And thank you to Senator Gallo as well, today's sponsors, along with the House as well. So thank you. I want to, with Brian Newberry, for their work getting this legislation across the finish line. I want to thank Mayor Hopkins for again having me here today, the superintendent, and of course the Commissioner Infante Green for being here as well, as this milestone in education in Rhode Island is met. And as public servants, we know how important it is to have strong education in civics. Our government works on behalf of its people, and we want students to know not only how it works, but how to participate in it. I firmly believe that education is the key to bettering the lives of young people and ensuring their future success, and I hope signing this legislation will increase the engagement in government by our young people in the state, and maybe even a few of them inspired to be elected leaders. I know we have a couple right here with us today based on my conversation with them. So thank you again for the both sponsors and for the school for hosting us and everyone who had a hand in this this bill. I'm pleased to be along with introducing Senator Gallo, who's already made her remarks. But I'm really pleased to be here with the House and the Senate leaderships because these bill signings, as we go around the state of Rhode Island, highlights important issues like we're here today in terms of civic engagement, but it also highlights the leadership and the work that is done in our General Assembly every day. So thank you to each, I see Rep. Amore there as well. So we thank all our reps and senators for their leadership and our local leadership here for having us here today to highlight this work and the important work that we engage in on every day. And with that, I'll hand it off to Brian Newberry, reps from North Smithfield. I'll be up there shortly at the beef barn, at the opening of the beef barn. I'm going to have a good roast beef sandwich when I get there too, Rep. Come on up.
They are famous for the roast beef, Governor. But I just want to thank everybody for coming here today. I want to thank first my co-sponsors in the House. Representative Norrie joined us today. Representatives Carson and Kislak also were very important behind the scenes on this bill, and Representative Fenton Fung. I don't think I left anybody off except Representative Amore, who I want to give tremendous credit to, particularly in negotiations with the Senate. Like all good legislation, this had background differences of opinions of what it should have looked like, what the final version should have been. And Representative Amore was key to getting the final bill put together. And I know my name is the lead sponsor on this, but I think he deserves equal credit. I want to point that out. I just want to say a few brief words about the origin of this. The other speakers have already talked about what the bill does and the importance of it, but this bill on the House side started about maybe 5 years ago. I'm biased, but North Smithfield High School has already, I think, the best civics program in the state of Rhode Island. They don't call it that, but it's American Honors Government History course. And it's driven really through the vision of one teacher, Natalie O'Brien, and a couple of other teachers who've assisted her over the years. My colleagues in the House will know that they've been winning the statewide competition for a national competition for the past, I think, 14 years now. And they come to the State House, well, most years they've come to the State House every year, not the last couple. And one of the competitions, one of the judges came up to me and said, you know, civics education in Rhode Island is a real problem. We lack it. And I thought to myself, is that really true? Because my daughter had been through this program, and I knew kids in North Smithfield High School really got a good, strong civics education, but apparently it's not the case statewide. And that's what originally started me putting this bill in and introducing it. The original version of the bill has changed tremendously over the years. I remember we had a meeting, Representative Amore, Kislak, Carson, and myself met in my office right before COVID hit. And Greg especially, we reworked the bill, and then COVID hit and it went away, and then we came back and we finally passed it. But it's time for this to happen. It's important for it to happen. I want to encourage all the students here, if you get a chance when you're in high school, take civics seriously. Civics is not to be confused with politics. Civics is about the structure of government, how things relate, how things work, how they're supposed to work, how they don't work. Learn what makes this country great, learn what makes this government function or not function, and strive to work to correct it, whatever you do. So thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you to the governor and to Senator Gallo for getting this finally over the finish line.
Representative Newberry, and bipartisan leadership on the legislation. A big thank you to the principal, Susan Bonanno. Where are you, principal? Oh, okay. And Superintendent Janine Massey for welcoming us here today. By the way, Janine is the Superintendent of the Year, who represents all of us very well. As educators, we often tell our students that we want them to change the world. We want them to see what's going on and to really push forward. But we have not been giving statewide the students the tools to be able to do that. These are our future mayors, these are our legislators, our even governors, and hopefully our future president one day. Our job is to ensure that every student has the knowledge and skills not only to succeed in the classroom, but beyond, and make real difference. Ensuring that students have access to high-quality civics education is at the core of the work. And that's why we are in the process, I want you to hear this, of reviewing our social studies standards. We have not reviewed or updated our social studies standards since 2009 in the state of Rhode Island. So we started this work about 10 months ago, and we're continuing as we finalize this year, and we'll be working on it to finalize for the spring of 2022. That is the bedrock of what we need to do. Part of the social studies standards is civics education. We cannot have our social studies standards not have that be the foundation of what we need to do. So that's why we're doing this work as we move forward with the community. I'm proud that throughout the summer we actively worked and engaged students in this, families and educators in efforts to reimagine education in Rhode Island, and we will continue to do this work. We need your participation. We want our students to be familiar with the principles of democracy, engage with their government, and understand how it works, and understand their rights, but also their duty. I think Senator Gallo said it well. We're in an era of misinformation. Our kids need to have the tools to be able to discern. So that's why this is so important. There is no shortage of challenges at the local, state, or federal levels, and we need the best and the brightest of this generation to play a key role. So we thank everyone. We know that this is one move in the right direction, and it is the bedrock of what we need to do. I'm looking forward to working closely with everyone here, and it's a pleasure to mark this legislation, one of the most important as we move forward. And once again, thank you, Governor. I will mention that we've had a lawsuit for a very long time because we haven't done this work. And we're here and we're doing it now because of all the people that you see standing here with us today. Thank you.
Evie just said you're blocking the camera. I think they.
We want to have another, all right, now, there you go, put it right down. Civics in action, right here, guys. Woo! Wonderful. You'll have to come down and see how it actually works, right?
They didn't know student council. We just started. They didn't know it was gonna be this exciting. It's like our first.
Well, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do for the next year?
I don't know how I'm gonna
Yes,
beat that.
I got one student I have to see here, I think.
All right, you guys
She's
are
gonna
good?
try to maybe,
That's good. I called for him.
you called for him?
Yeah, do you want me to bring him out or?
Yeah, could you do that?
Yeah.
That'd be great. I gotta get a picture, I gotta get his mom. His mom works with us in Cumberland at a business that we have. So I got the message from her last night, so I gotta bring Jeffrey down, say hello. You have a question? Governor.